conditions under which people are living.
I really tried to distance myself from religious life.
It's just my desire to be a catechist.
Go back to reality and see what's on our table. It's quite depressing.
On the 5th of March 2023, 3 Dominican sisters from Zimbabwe celebrated their 25 years since they took religious vows. These sisters are Sister Christine Murombedzi, Sister Irene Makovere, and Sister Rudo Matsika. And today we talk to one of them, Sister Rudo Matsika, who is currently serving as the Regional Superior of Dominican Sisters in Zimbabwe. Sister Rudo, welcome.
Thank you, Norbert.
Just to kickstart our conversation, probably we can begin by you telling us the background under which you joined the Dominican Sisters. How is your vocation story?
Yeah, I grew up in Chirumanzu in a very Catholic family, going to the Catholic Church with my parents every Sunday, praying daily as family, sharing Bible reflections as family. And I actually gave myself the responsibility of preparing the prayer timetable for the family. And I was also the leader for the Holy Childhood group in the parish from the age of 9. So I used to preach from the pulpit from that age, and also was in the choir from that age. So I used to see sisters, I used to see priests, and right from that age I just felt this is what I wanted to do. I went to secondary school. I went to Hammer High School. We had SJI sisters in the school. We had the priests in the school. We also had the Dominican sisters in the hospital. So we had sisters coming to do vocation promotion, in particular Sister Tendai Makonese, Sister Alexia Dendere.
Yes.
And I liked the gentle preaching. Very, very touching and very inspiring. The way they would talk to us, and even their singing was just so powerful and very encouraging. So I applied to the Dominican Sisters, and when I finished Form 4, I attended the long workshop and went back home, waited for my O-level results, and then on the 5th of March, I joined the Dominican Sisters. That was 1995, 5 March 1995.
That's a long time ago.
Yes. So that was my day of entering religious life.
And how has been the journey so far? Now we are counting 25 years since you took your vows. How has been the journey?
It has been up and down. It's almost like when I look at it, you know, when you start a relationship, there's the period of infatuation, and then with time, it grows stronger out of the excitements and maybe some of the unrealistic expectations and all those, and into a real love relationship. I remember my brother one day was saying, you know, you only love someone when you've married them and you now live with them and get to know each other.
Yes.
Then that's when you can say, now we love each other. So I can say religious life was also like that for me, because when I came, I was thinking, oh, we go straight away to preach.
Is it?
Yes. But there was time for formation, there was time to understand religious life, there was time to learn, and then only later on, after first vows, after also community service, and after further studies, was what I can say proper apostolate. So it has been a journey, and throughout that journey, I would say there are highs and lows.
Yeah.
Yes, I like this musician who sings this song that the God of the mountains is still God in the valleys. So it's meeting God on the mountain and meeting God in the valleys, and like when you're on the mountain of the Transfiguration, you want to build the 3 tents, but he says, let's go down, and then we go down and we meet that sick child who needs to be healed, and maybe we struggle to do that. So it's a balanced way of life, where there are joys, where there are challenges, and so forth.
I understand that in religious life you meet people from all walks of life who are sort of meant to be your sisters. In this case, you celebrated your Silver Jubilee with 2 other sisters. Probably you didn't know them before you joined the Dominican Sisters, and you are in this together. You become companions on the journey. How do you evaluate the importance of companionship, especially with these 2 that you have journeyed with over time?
I would like to replace the word companionship with community.
Sure.
For us Dominicans, our life is guided by the 4 pillars of prayer, study, community, and service. So when I hear of companionship or look at companionship, I think in terms of community. Our life is patterned on the life of Christ, who called his disciples to be his companions and companions of each other, and to be sent out to preach. So even though we are called as individuals, in our way of life, you are not called to be alone. You are called to be in a community. Your formation happens in the community. The prayer happens in the community. You leave the community. You are sent by the community to do an apostolate. You come back to the community. And I think even if I travel or go for a holiday, it is okay for some time. But after a while, I want to go back or come back home to my community. Because that's where I find my strength, that's where I find my solace, and that's where I come back to debrief and to get energy for the next adventure.
Yeah, and the community you find in religious life becomes sort of your family that you live with every day. But also, let's talk about your family back home. How much do they contribute to your growth as a religious sister?
I think in life, everyone needs a support system. And our support system can be in different forms and maybe in diverse ways. My family is one of my support systems, my biological family. They have supported me right from the beginning when I joined. I remember my father and my mother actually talking to me and saying, if you find it difficult, please come back home. They did not say, she's gone, so almost like we're getting rid of her. I remained their baby. Even up to now, my mother will be wondering if I keep quiet to say, how are you and how are things? And if I phone, how are you? The first thing is, Mwana wangu. So I feel this. I feel so good, you know. I think everyone wants to have that sense of belonging to a family of origin. And I have my sister in particular, who is kind of my twin. So even when it comes to maybe sharing deep issues of life, she's kind of the person that I share with. Yeah.
We now know where to go when we want to know about it. Nonetheless, let's talk about your... currently, you are serving as the regional prioress in Zimbabwe. What are some of the things that you have learned about leadership, especially in religious life?
Yeah, there are many. Every day has its own lessons. Leadership in this office and this capacity is a ministry of trust. Because it's not like maybe leader of an organization, or in some cases, people in this responsibility, they are called maybe mother regional, mother whatever, because the role you play is more of looking after your sisters. And yes, the institutions and everything else do come along the way, or they're part of the package, but it's a role of trust, a ministry of trust, because you get into the sacred spaces of people. You stand on the holy ground of people. It is also a ministry of taking up your cross and following in the footsteps of Christ, because as you work every day, you carry that cross. And if you are not aware, it's very easy to maybe sometimes want to throw the towel. It's a ministry of caring, loving, and a ministry of forgiveness, because everyone that I'm taking care of needs to be loved, needs to be listened to, just needs to have that necessary presence. And when things go wrong, forgiveness, because today we may misunderstand each other, tomorrow we need each other. It is also a ministry of learning, openness to learn, where one has to learn. Every day I'm learning from the sisters, I'm learning from all the people that I work with, whether we're sitting on boards or board meetings, whether it's the institutional leaders that I'm working with, whether it's my fellow sisters that I'm working with, or the team that I work with. So there's always something to learn. It calls for a readiness to consult almost on a daily basis. There's so many things that come in this direction where I have to say, okay, this is from a legal perspective, I will need to check with a lawyer. This is from an HR perspective, I will need to check. Or this maybe needs a psychologist, a therapist, or this needs a medical person. So there's lots of consultations. I am elected and appointed into the office as I am not with expertise in all areas. So there's a lot of reliance on others, and it also calls for an openness to research and to read and to get in touch with maybe the current times, the current ways of doing things, and the current needs of the time, addressing those needs as well.
And how best would you describe generally the works of Dominican sisters in Zimbabwe?
We are in education, so we are teachers, and some are school leaders. So we look after the formation of children, young men and women in education, from ECD to primary school to high school, and we also have a school of nursing, St. Teresa. Then we are in the Ministry of Health, where we look after the sick, and in whatever we do, we look after children as well. We have 2 children's homes, Emerald Dew and Loreto, and then we have among the schools we have Emerald Dew School for the Deaf, and we also have Lifelines Media. The hospitals, we have St. Joseph in Mtare, and we have St. Teresa in Chirumanzu, and we have a new establishment of Dom Health, which is a medical practice just now, but the plan is that it grows into a bigger hospital here in Harare.
Oh, is it?
Emerald Dew. Okay. Yes, one of our newest babies. And with the schools, we have 11 schools. It's Dominican Convent Harare Primary and High School, Dominican Convent Blayo Primary and High School. We have Emerald Dew School for the Deaf, which is primary and high school. We have St. Martin's Primary. We have St. Dominic, which is high school. We have St. John's, which is high school. We have Gweru Nursery. We have Mother Patrick. We're also running Mother Patrick. Okay. So these are the institutions that we are looking after.
And how are these works fitting into the charism of Dominican Sisters of the Sacred Heart?
We are preachers. So when I talked about the 4 pillars of prayer, study, community, and service, the service is either, we call it service, we call it ministry, we call it preaching. So we preach as we nurse in the hospitals. And our focus, our purpose, our aim is to provide holistic health services. We are also looking at producing a total person as we teach, well-rounded person, someone who can fit into the society and make a meaningful contribution. And as we teach, we are also looking at preparing people for life beyond earth. We are also guided by our motto, Veritas, that we promote in everything, this Veritas, truth.
Recently, Dominican Convent Harare celebrated 130 years of existence, and St. Martin's Convent Primary School celebrated 60 years after it was founded. Just using these 2 schools, tell us about something that is outstanding in Dominican education. If someone has gone through a Dominican school, what do we expect out of that person?
We are not only happy that they go away with A grades or A stars, or that they go away with all ones at grade 7, but that apart from those academic results, what makes us different from any other school that's producing those excellent results is the person herself. Our focus is on the person. It's the simple and small things when you look at our school rules that are very important. Issues of grooming and etiquette, issues of the pillars of Catholic education, they guide us as well, that we are teaching our children to do, so they learn to do, they learn to be, they learn to know, they learn to relate with God, with self, and with others. So at the end of the day, we're hoping the package that we produce is a total one.
Some of the challenges that you find in the institutions that are being run by the church or religious congregations today in the 21st century?
One of the challenges, a practical challenge, is financial. In the past, most of these institutions, especially hospitals, were funded by missionaries or monies from abroad. And now it's either it's very little or nothing, which means we have to locally manage or run those, fund those. And for people who have been used to
receiving always.
Receiving the packages, or the help or the donations, it's difficult to understand. So the thinking could be, these sisters of today, they just want money. But how do you run the institution when there is nothing else coming from elsewhere? Yeah. It means it's us, the local people, who have to fund those.
How do we do that? Because I also realize, not only for you sisters, but even in parishes that are now run by local priests, the diocese, when people were used to have missionaries who were generous in their own way, because they could. Now people complain that priests of nowadays, these religious of nowadays, they always want money. They are always asking from the parishioners or those that are providing services to. How do we go about that? How do we educate these people to get used to sort of supporting the works of the church?
I suppose it's a two-way thing, where we educate those that are receiving the services, and we also maybe educate ourselves as the ones who are giving the services. Because one challenge which I was going to refer to is the contradiction or the difficulty of balancing our purpose, our aim, our vision, our charism, versus our resource needs, our financial needs. I did attend a workshop once for major superiors, as we're doing some modules for leaders of congregations, where we were looking at sustainability. And I was very much touched and happy with the approach of starting from the charism. We say, what are our values? Why are we here? What is our mission? What is our purpose? And then from there, we look at the needs. What are the current needs? The needs of the people that we are serving or supposed to be serving. We identify those needs, and then we work on addressing those needs. And as we address those needs, we're also looking for opportunities for survival. What are the benefits or the opportunities that are there for us? Because as we work, we need to eat, we need to dress, and even those children's homes that we are running, we need to raise something so that we can be able to run them. The hospitals, we need to raise something so that we can be able to run them. So at the end of that, you go back to the charism. There's that need to keep checking and coming back and redirecting, so that we don't just get away or get carried away with the focus maybe on the financials or on the resources, but keeping coming back and saying, why are we here? Are we still serving our purpose? So I think, and then at the same time, maybe if that process is also done in a parish together with the people concerned, where possible, it may not be to say, okay, this is where we are and these are the opportunities we see, but what we want to be able to do is, this is ours. Maybe sense of ownership is important, and sense of belonging, so that there's no feeling of it's for the sisters or this is for the priest, but this is ours. So then the journey can be done together and the solutions can be found together.
So there are some facts about Dominican sisters in Zimbabwe. The first one is that they are the first female religious congregation to come into this country. That was in 1891. And then upon their coming, they established the first hospital in the country 3 days after their arrival, interestingly. And the third is that they built the first school in the country, which is Dominican Convent in Harare. Generally, also, there is a fact that they were the first women to arrive in Salisbury. On top of that, there is this quotation I also want to read to you, which was said by Father Denya, who was responsible for inviting Dominican sisters to the Zambezi mission. And he said that the Dominican sisters have done more for the good name of the Catholic missionaries and the cause of religion than several years of missionary work by priests. This is a priest who is saying that the Dominican sisters have done more for the cause of religion and missionary work than what probably priests had done before. Let's talk about the role of women in the church today. What do you feel about the role of the church the role of women in the church today, based on these facts and the history that I've just given you?
I think women in general, when you look at society, even when you look at a family without a mother is incomplete. And yet there are many mothers who bring up children single-handedly. And they can be fathers and mothers at the same time. Complete family is a family that has the father, the mother, and if God gives them with children, with the children. Even if you look at the foundations that we have in the church in Zimbabwe, most of them were done by women. And when we are creating, whether it's new diocese or we want it to develop, it's the women are invited. Please, may you come and open a hospital. May you come and open a school. Maybe if a school is not running well, maybe we have a sister. Sisters can do this better. So I think women are important, and they are mothers, and they have the role of nurturing life. So it's the same in the church.
Yeah, I read somewhere that Dominican sisters used to teach at the seminary during the formative years of Shawasha Major Seminary. I mean, because priests were out doing whatever they were doing, but there was lack of staff in the seminary, and the sisters came in and did exceptionally well. Are there any dynamics that you feel have changed in religious life that we need to take care of, or that we need to pay attention to, sort of, from the time you joined and probably now that you are a regional superior?
So when we look at this time, sometimes people would say, maybe we are following the values of the world, or we are allowing the world to be the one to inform us or guide us or to shape us instead of us shaping the world. But I wouldn't say it's something new, because when you look into the history, I think conversion and transformation is ongoing in every age. So there could be different issues we are dealing with, but the ongoing evaluation of where are we and what may need to change, what may need conversion, and attending to those things as they come.
Before I met you, I interacted with your music. Some songs you composed, I think, some time ago. One of which I think I was listening to it this morning, Tambira Kutenda Kwangu. It's been long since I heard your compositions. What's happening? Have you stopped composing? Are you a part-time composer? What's happening?
I think I have never called myself a composer as such. But when God speaks, I compose. So at that time, I think God was speaking in that direction, and I did compose. And maybe one of the things that this office does, it takes away some of your social life. I play the guitar. When I came in from Lawayo coming to Harare, I used to go back to Emerald. I started guitars and actually drums, even buying the drums for the children. For the first time in Emerald, we did this Shona music and combination of English, Shona, playing guitars and drums and so forth. So when I came back, I was going back and I would play the guitar on Sundays, but I'm rarely around. So, yeah, I have not played it maybe for a year now or even more. So that's what happens. But maybe I may pick up some of these things because it's in me, and I love singing, I love music, I love playing the guitar.
Okay. How many songs do you compose anyway, if you remember?
I composed Tambira Kutenda Kwangu. I composed Babatoya Kwamuri Tambira Chipo Shedu Gatibatsirani.
Gatibatsirani. Yes, I remember that.
Kubatsirana panguva yenhamo.
Yes.
And I composed Baba Vanoregerera Mwanakomana Karasika.
Thank you so much, Sister Rudo. So we've come to the end of our conversation today with Sister Rudo Matsika, who is a Dominican sister working in Zimbabwe as a regional superior. Until we meet next time, goodbye.